Hi, I'm Jason from the company Blockout Blinds, and today I'm going to be talking to you about what to consider when selecting your blind controls. Now, as you may well be aware, pretty much most blinds come with a cord of some type. And there's a couple of things that you might want to consider when you are designing your new blinds. If you have a good design consultant, they will go over these with you, but some companies neglect to even mention that there are options with chains or give you the right advice. So the first thing, obviously, is you need to decide if the cord is going to be on the left or the right of the blind. Might sound pretty straightforward. Well, it is. Things to consider, make sure it's on the side that's more easily accessible. Not on a side that one day you might put furniture in front of there, obstructing your ability to use that cord. And just sort of, walking into the room, is it the closer side or the side further away? Just some little practicality things like that. Now, the next thing you need to consider is the length of the chain. Now, they can be made in all different lengths. So you may want to have it quite a bit shorter, so it's up high, out of reach. If you do that, that's fine. However, remember, the shorter it is, the less distance you can pull the chain, which means it's going to take you quite a while to pull the blind up and down. Whereas if you have the blind chain quite long, you're going to have a nice long length to pull to be able to get the blind to move up and down more quickly. Now, remember though that if your blind cord is lower than 1.6 metres from the ground, you need to put a safety device on the chain so the chain can't be pulled away from the wall, which is fine. However, in doing that, you lose the ability to pull the chain away from the wall to control it. If this blind was on the wall and I wanted to put it up and down, quite often I could pull the chain back like this and operate it from a bit of a distance. But if I have to install the child safety device, the chain will be affixed to the wall and I won't be able to move it out. So I have to come right next to it and be able to move the blind up and down. So you just sort of need to weigh up what's going to be more practical for you. A bit shorter or a bit longer. A couple of other things to consider might be on your windows. If you have a beam going across the middle of the window, you might want the cord to terminate in line with that beam, just so it looks aesthetically more pleasing. And you also might want to consider, if you want, on some blinds you can have a metal or a plastic chain as well. Most people would think that the metal chain is stronger, but generally the plastic chain is stronger because it's moulded in one piece and it's very hard to pull apart, or pretty much impossible. Whereas the metal chain looks nicer and it hangs nicer because it has more weight. However, the little balls are connected to each other with little metal pieces of steel, and occasionally they can come apart and break apart. Doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. So there's just a couple of things that you might want to consider when choosing the control options for your blinds. So hopefully I've made your process a little bit easier. So till next time, we'll see you then.